a PI system, which is a Formula One instrumentation system in it, that we can download to a computer very quickly. So for the limited amount of practice we get here in Wellington, it's much faster and much better as far as the team getting some analysis off the car. A team all the time.
You're the young Turk.
Yeah, well, Jimmy calls me the guinea pig, so I go and do all that stuff, and when it's half a chance, he comes and drives it.
The man who really wants to win this year's great race is the man, of course, gentleman Jim Richards. He's going for the third leg of a treble in the Nissan GTR. And Free Sport now takes you for a ride with the four-time Australian touring car champ, the four-time Bathurst champion, Jimmy Richards. At the moment, this is one of the pictures on the rear wheel of the Nissan, one of our 7 mini cams set up for the weekend of the Nissan Mobil 500. As we go down through this very fast sweeper into Cable Street where the drivers are picking the time. Now there's another shot. Fantastic shot. Going through towards the overseas terminal. Looking straight through the vision that Jimmy Richards will be getting in the Nissan GTR round through the overseas terminal. This is the big sweeper setting it up before they hit the Nissan Mobil chicane. And there is Jimmy Richards working hard behind the wheel, or is that Mark Skaife? As you can see, the drivers do a hell of a lot of hard work. It's not just a case of sitting there and just planting boot. Very physical, very demanding. They lose about 2 or 3 kilos sometimes and they just go out, spend a day around the track. Nissan GTR down through the main straight. 1:26 is the time they did this morning in practice. We'll get the times later this afternoon to see if the Nissan GTR, the supercar, will be starting from pole. One of the hot favourites for this year's Nissan Mobil 500. And David Oxton, the performance so far of the Nissan, you think it really is going to live up to its reputation as being the car to beat?
Well, it must start clear favourite on its position, or on its recent successes at both Bathurst and Adelaide. It's just a perfectly set up machine at the peak of its development. Its drivers are very confident. They know the car inside out. Freddie Gibson knew that it had the results all in there and ready to go. Yes, you've got to go with it, even though the pit stops and all the peculiarities of Wellington still have to be faced. It must start number 1 on the road.
Mark's behind the wheel of the Nissan at the moment, correct?
Can't pick that up at this point. Looking at it, the height in the cockpit, I would have said it's Mark. It really, the key to a good effort, of course, here is that the good teams, you can't even tell who's in there because the car goes at the same pace. So Nissan Motorsport certainly has that attribute.
Skaife behind the wheel of the Nissan GTR, watching the great man behind the car, Jimmy Richards, who's now into the car, the new version of the Nissan GTR. They've sorted out the reliability problems that cost them the race last year. Let's pick out the action with David Oxton and Brian Lawrence to see how gentleman Jim Richards goes on the track in 91.
Well, they definitely got to be in with a chance, I think, this weekend. But it's been talked about round the pits earlier on yesterday and today that there's, with it being four-wheel drive, there's perhaps twice as many things to go wrong with it. But all hats off to the Nissan crew led by Gibson. It's very, very thorough. It's proved that it can go the distance with a startling victory at Mount Panorama in October, and it certainly does have to start off as a front runner. I wouldn't either discount Peter Brock's Commodore, the old V8. It's still, I wouldn't say old. It's a very well-developed car that goes on and on. But one thing that we have been speaking about today, and that's the condition of that circuit. These cars are taking an awful pounding down there, and obviously physical fitness playing a major part in this 500-kilometre event around the harbour capital.
Well, the other wild card here, of course, is the weather. We always rate Wellington's weather as the most unpredictable in the country. And for sure, if the rain comes out, there will be incidents, accidents, crashes, bangs, whatever you like to call it. That brings out the pace car, and that virtually starts a whole new race again. So you really can't judge anything from qualifying. It's a key thing. It's very, very important to sort of, well, set the ego pace, if that's the right word. We know who are the quick guys now, but it doesn't really count in the end result. You've got to keep your nose clean. Look at those beautiful lines. This is a little special camera poking up the left side there of the Nissan GTR from the left rear wheel, and it's a view of the big turbo exhaust system and that driving left front wheel really working for its living. Mark Skaife just trimming out the direction of the front there. You can see he plays a very valid part, obviously, in this whole process, but he's also letting the car do a lot of work. In fact, Jim's at the wheel at the moment. Very, very relaxed peddler, Jim. When you actually see Peter Brock at the wheel, there's grim determination. Every muscle and bone in his face seems to be at 100 miles an hour. Jimmy, by comparison, seems to be a lot more under control, Brian.
He certainly does. Actually, when you raise that point, he's perhaps having a better ride, maybe just the whole mental attitude, his approach towards the thing. And once these cameras are all in action tomorrow, in particular, you'll just actually see how refined these drivers are, how close they get to the wall, but they can maintain this consistency right throughout their stint at the wheel, which will last for probably around about an hour to an hour and a quarter. And obviously to keep the mental attitude going the whole time, not only to withstand the pressure, the slower cars, the alteration to the car's handling as the track deteriorates as the day goes on. There's so many things, and obviously the Wellington circuit, like Monaco and other street circuits, it doesn't take any prisoners. There is no room for error.
Of course, another feature this year to bring another wild card in, for want of a better word, there are a few extra cars being included in the form of Porsches. This is the Porsche class. Now, these will be competing in the main race.
Godzilla, Jimmy Richards with the four-wheel drive wonder of the Nissan GTR. He could be the rocket man in the wet. And look at that start by Michael Skaife. What a start on the rocket ship. Skaife right down to the hairpin, takes the lead from the pole position of Emmanuel Pirro. Then it's Longhurst, Brock, Johnson, Riley, Scott. That's the Scott Riley car as they head up towards the Nissan Mobil 500 gates, and a great start by the Nissan GTR.
What a magic start. You see that twin turbo really just blast the power down past the BMW. The BMW struggles a little bit when it's full of fuel, but don't worry, that'll come back. But the Godzilla has got this race by the throat, thrusting out. Mark Skaife doing it great.
So a fantastic start by the Nissan as the field now move through the very quick part of the circuit. It's the bumpy roads down the bumps of Cable Street. This lap, so a dramatic start for the Brett Riley, Kane Scott team with Scott at the wheel. But here is Skaife, Mark Skaife.
Put the rescue car out, so this is going to already to driving school.
Well, that easing away from Dick Johnson. The Sierras are struggling this year to run with the pace of these BMWs and, of course, Godzilla. But Brocky doing a great job there with the Mobil Commodore. Sounds like 1,000,000 miles an hour and goes like. Just look at that burning on the exhaust system as it ventilates and gets rid of it all. Very, very. We promised you action. It's really there.
Well, we promised you a hot start, and that's exactly what you've got here on 3 Sport. So it's Skaife at the wheel. He's been super quick in testing. He's done a lot of work setting this car up right throughout the entire year. That's the reason why he's starting first with Jimmy Richards, the changeover. Fantastic shot from the Armco there. Talking to Freddie Gibson last night, he said all they did to this car was put in some fresh twin turbos, change the brakes, and the basic plan of attack, VL, was to go flat out.
Well, that's what he said, run it at race pace. It's a good, strong car, there's no question of that. But Emanuele Pirro sitting in behind him, keeping an eye on things, but now they're starting to already get in amongst the tail enders, and this is going to be dynamite.
So it's Skaife.
Point indicates to everyone, you know, just don't be stupid, guys. Just be ready for a problem, because in this situation, there's safety to be considered by the marshals, the people that run the event. 350, 400 people here controlling this event, and they put their lives on the line. But what they've got to try and decide what to do here, they've got to say, how are we going to get this car off the front straight? Because it's semi-blocking the track. It's quite a long way to get it moved. Do we bring a tow vehicle out? Do we send some guys out and push it away? Big problems. So we've got the pace car out there. I think what will happen...
W as they wind their way through the gates. We are racing again in the Nissan Mobil 500.
Well, there's no doubt about it. Skaife seemed to be the only one that was really wide awake when that came, because they've all got the opportunity to bunch up and behind each other. But when they let them go, there was only about 4 or 5 of them who were really on the case. And Skaife's taken advantage of this. Look at the gap already. He's gone.
Well, I'm going to say that's a little bit of his single-seater experience involving himself here, because in single-seater racing, you learn to stand on the gas immediately the flag drops, because you've got to get that advantage. The touring car endurance boys usually kind of roll into things, but not Mark Skaife. He's hard on it.
Winner of the Formula Brabant class in Australia, showing his experience in the single-seaters. And he's a hell of a nice guy too, Skaife, just like all the guys in the Nissan team. They love their motor racing. In fact, Brocky, Johnson, all these guys are really right up there, aren't they? And just love the sport.
Jim Richards fans don't take any notice of the fact that Jim's not starting in this race first. Simply a decision made on practical experience here. Mark's done most of the testing at the circuit. He was more familiar with the car under racing conditions at the start of the race with a full load of gas. And that's the decisions. Fred Gibson makes decisions based upon winning races, not emotions.
What about the smoke that you see puffing out the side every now and then?
No, we know this wonderful technical masterpiece, the Nissan GTR, has got twin turbo, and it's literally forcing the fuel through the exhaust system and out the back. So you're seeing a little bit of unburnt fuel coming out. It isn't a problem.
Down this part of the circuit, it is absolutely fantastic watching it live on the track. The noise and the drink rose again, is it?
what's happening with Mark Skaife. Topping it up with fuel, they're doing the wheels. There doesn't seem to be any major mechanical changes going on. They brought in. Is this all part of Fred Gibson's plans? We'll be getting our pit report down there from John Cardwell and Murray Taylor.
Let's go down to John Cardwell to see if he can have a quick catch up with Fred Gibson, see what that unscheduled pit stop was all about, because they've dropped back to 5th place from leading the race, and there is Fred Gibson with Jimmy Richards. Looks a bit worried, and John Cardwell, and at the moment Freddie Gibson are just going over to check the situation with his pit crew. But meanwhile, back on the race,
It's probably got to be a dud set of tyres or a slow puncher they were worried about. They've obviously had communication. It's got to be something wrong with that first set of tyres.
well, it certainly means we've now got a race back on our hands after he was like the hare that cleared out from the rest of the field. It was like run, rabbit, run. Pirro. Second, Tony Longhurst. Third, Peter Brock in the Holden Commodore. And Brian Lawrence, just how quick is that leading BMW going at this stage?
Welcome back to the Nissan Mobil 500, and it's situation normal for the BMW team.
Cardwell and Murray Taylor.
Fred Gibson, 1.5 hours into the race. You've now sorted out what the problem is. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, Murray, we've broken front diff. Cable stew's taken this toll on the car, and the bumps have broke the front differential, probably stripped the crown wheel. So, like, as you see on the TV, it's jumping all over the track down there, and it's stripped all the teeth off. See, the car weighed, we did an exercise this morning, the car weighed 1,576 kilo with Mark in the car at the start of the race. So it's a big heavy car, and sort of done, so it's only rear-wheel drive at present.
Okay, now does that put extra strain on the rear diff?
Yeah, it has on the rear diff and the rear half shafts and also the rear tyres. Mark's coming in shortly for rear tyres, which is about half the distance we should be doing.
Okay, well, we've got more drama because Peter Brock's just come into the pits.
Thanks, Murray.
That they have inside some of the more sophisticated cars. It brings out who's good in the wet. Cross is particularly good in the wet. I think you'll see even a better performance from Pirro and Winkelhock, who are superb anyway. Watch Tony Longhurst. There's Godzilla in behind it. This will probably give this car a little bit of a better run than what it's having at the moment. They're sitting in 9th position at this point, just with the diff on it. Longhurst is about 1 minute and 4 seconds behind in 2nd position. But of course, as he said, when we spoke to him earlier on today, he said this is a race that can be won or lost in the pits.
And how's that? Longhurst waving Skaife through, Richards through.
Yeah, well, he knows it's not really a contest. Richards is, several laps behind now. Longhurst is a contender for the lead. He's only 2 minutes, 1 minute 30 behind at this point, and that's nothing. As soon as the rain covers the track, it all goes to a new set of rules.
We know Tony Longhurst has had a great drive here in the rain many years ago with Trevor Crowe. Remember that race in the BMW? So we know he's great in the wet. What about Alan Jones, AJ?
Well, Alan's probably a little bit off the pace. When I say that, I don't say that in a disrespectful manner. Tony is so fit, he puts everything into it the whole time. Alan just a little bit back off that pace, but he can do it. It's just he probably can't keep doing it.
So going across the start-finish line, the Nissan GTR with Jimmy Richards at the wheel trying to make up some stages. And also
Say that you have personally won 3 races. You've already won half a race here. It's over to Joachim now.
Yes, now we have quite a good lead, and the car works quite good. There are 2 or 3 things which worries me a little bit, but it's quite good. So basically, he has to try to keep up the traffic and keep a slow pace like I've done in the first stint.
When Mark Skaife came out of the pits, it must have given you quite a scare.
Why?
When Mark came out in the Nissan, you had a nudge.
Yes, I think he didn't see me because we hit. And, well, probably he hasn't seen me because there was no reason to shut the door.
So now it's the waiting game for you, standing nervously in the pits, watching as Winkelhock finishes the race.
I'm used to it.
Okay, well, thank you, Emanuele.
Talk to you later.
Murray Taylor with the #1 driver at this stage, Emanuele Pirro, with our pit report. Just updating the situation for you with the Nissan GTR as Emanuele Pirro looks on. Joachim Winkelhock at the wheel of the BMW. At this stage, Richards is 6 laps down and running in 7th place. Jim Richards behind the wheel of the supercar. They've had a terrible day so far. And now it's a real dogfight to see if Richards can actually catch up through the field. And the only thing that would basically mean that the BMW would stop them from taking would be mechanical trouble.
If any of you have just joined us, the reason why the Godzilla is not really in the hunt, it's certainly got the speed, but at the moment it appears that, from what Fred Gibson, team manager, has said, the front differential is broken. It is only driving through the rear wheels, and it makes it a pretty amazing effort the way the car is going, considering it's only driving through 2 of its normal 4-wheel drive. This makes it harder on tyres. In fact, Winkelhock has now got up to speed through coming in, obviously, full load of gas, new tyres. He's rejoined, and he seemed to give in very easily to Jim Richards. Now the tyres have come in. Now he's up to speed. Now he's confident. He's going to make a race of it, to get his mental attitude and driving abilities are tuned to going flat out.
And of course, even though they had a very quick pit stop with 27 seconds, with that driver change, it now means that it's car 25, the Tony Longhurst.
Kevin Waldock, so we can keep doing that for another half an hour or so, we might beat him.
What's the gap at the moment?
Oh, we're sort of a lap behind him. So I think we'll get that lap back sort of before the finish.
Okay, well, all the best, Fred.
Thanks, Murray. Thanks very much.
Well, that could be a fantastic race within the race, as Jimmy Richards behind the wheel of Godzilla had all their chances of winning the race destroyed with those 3 unscheduled pit stops in the first hour with problems to the car. They've sorted those problems out. At the moment, Jimmy Richards, he's been turning in times around about 1:46. He's just a lap down on the car, which is third at the moment. They've got to get up and pass Denny Holman, Robbie Francevic to try and grab that top 3 position. But they're just closing in on Graham Crosby in the Ford Series, doing around about 1:55. So they are 10 seconds quicker than Cros at this stage. Do you think he can catch him, Brock?
I think he might. Richards is a very accomplished wet weather driver, and that's not taking anything away from Cros, who's doing a good job on that car. It's the Queensland car. It's hardly got a mark on it. It's probably got a few bugs on it, which have been washed off it now anyway. But
controlling the lead, this man, Jimmy Richards, going by our calculations at this stage, has just moved up into 3rd place, which is a fantastic effort by the hard-charging gentleman of touring cars from Australia, the current Australian touring car champion, Bathurst champion. Had all sorts of problems today with the supercar, but now he's been circulating with 139s around about the same time as the BMW, and he's worked his way back up into the top 3, which was the aim that Freddie Gibson was telling us earlier today. So this has been a super drive by Richard.
he was always good. He's good in the wet, he's good in the dry, and just looking at the lap times at the moment is Winkelhock's turning in a 1:38.02, and then we've got Peter Brock and the Holden Commodore at 1:49, but remember that's on wet weather tyres.
And he's 2 laps down.
And he's a little reluctant to come in. The Richards car, 1:37, so that's actually the fastest car on the road at the moment, turning in the same lap time as what Kevin Waldock is in the Queensland car.
That's actually 3 laps behind Peter Brock at this stage too. It's probably not enough time for Jim Richards to try and catch Brocky. So Jim Richards of the Nissan GTR will finish the race after 3 unscheduled pit stops when they had problems with the diff earlier today, and they thought there was tyre problems. Mark Skaife at the wheel, so it looked like it was going to be a day of disaster. Nissan GTR, all sorts of troubles earlier in the day, but a great drive by Jimmy Richards to come back through the field, 6 laps down on the winning car, but they've got back into the top 3. Gentlemen, Jim Richards, 3rd this year in the great race, and a great drive too. Jimmy Richards, a great day for the BMWs. Let's go down to the presentation now and the prize giving.
Let's get him up here. Unbelievable, came from 25th place after the front diff on the car went. Ended up driving the whole way with rear-wheel drive only. So much for the four-wheel drive Godzilla. But here they are. The guys are here. Jeff Atkinson's going to do the honours with the Nissan Mobil 500 Wellington 91 mementos, the sashes. Not the prize the boys came for, but I'm sure they're going to be more than well pleased with that. Okay, Jeff Atkinson from Mobil Oil does the honours to the boys. Let's call up in second place, crowd favourites Peter Brock and Larry Perkins in the Mobil 1 Holden Commodore. Great stuff to see these guys up on the stage. It's nice to get together the Nissan and the Mobil team. Make the sponsors' day. Mr. Fuji stands there and watches as the Nissan guys stand beside him. Mr. Atkinson does the honours with the Mobil boys. Mr. Fuji also has the trophy for the guys. Righto, we're going to talk to these people very shortly, but first of all, let's call up the winners today from an incredible fourth time in a row, Emanuele Pirro from Italy and Joachim Winkelhock from Germany. Fantastic. In the Castrol BMW, number 1 from the Schnitzer Motorsport team in Germany. They come here and done it for the fourth time in a row. Unbelievable stuff. They were not rated the guys to take pole position, but there they went and did it.